guys and gals and non-binary pals, as one of the other YouTubers says. It's about 2ish in the morning and I just wanted to film this before. Hey guys and gals and non-binary pals, as one of the other YouTubers says. It's about 2ish in the morning and I just wanted to film this before I get any other footage today, because mostly it's just going to be me walking around doing the normal stuff, going and paying my bills. I'm going to do like a little kind of interview thing with Health Watch to talk about mental health and how it affects people. You'll see from my other vlog from Sunday that I spoke briefly to a guy called Andrew Goodall, who I think used to work for Ardash, and was on the Health Watch stall, and he did a little piece to camera about what Health Watch is, and they're doing this project to think about how mental health affects people and stuff. So we're going down about 10 in the morning to Cavendish Court to speak to a lady there about my experience. That's not what I turned the camera on for. I turned the camera on for, and excuse me for reading this out, to say that I had some thoughts when I was trying to get to sleep last night, and I wrote down 3 questions. I asked, what burns in your heart? What's your passion? And what makes you feel alive? Now, I used to, when I was, young, not that I say I'm not young now, but I used to want to be a writer. I used to want to write a book. So my nights, I'm quite a night owl, so my nights, as I was getting older and older, usually ended up consisting of me having slept a lot during the day. Yes, that does include when I was supposed to be at school. But then I did a lot of writing at night. I was even in something called the English Club at my high school, which I think I was the only person that went to, so it wasn't really a club, it was just me sat in a room writing poems. But I always wanted to write a book. Now that I do YouTube, and I've seen there's a lot of criticism of people that do YouTube and they're all writing books, but this is something that a lot of YouTubers will probably have wanted to do before they ever got into doing YouTube. So my passion was to write a book, and I had a lot of ideas. I had one story that was kind of like The Exorcist, that was called Blood Cross, which was about a priest, but it was based off of what happened at the end of The Exorcist film, where the priest temporarily got possessed by Pazuzu, who had been calling himself the devil and all kinds of things in the film. But the story was that he didn't know that he was being possessed, and that he was having what he thought was nightmares of him. Well, he was having nightmares of people being killed, basically, or horrible things happening, but he didn't know that they weren't just nightmares. But unfortunately, the only copy of the story that was available, that was printed out, got destroyed by moisture in my mum's cellar in her old home that she lived in, and the only other copy of it was on a floppy disk, which was also destroyed by the moisture in the cellar. So there's no copies of this anywhere, and I can't quite remember the whole story apart from the lead character was called Daniel, that it was based around him being possessed, but not knowing that he was possessed to start with, and then trying to work out how to stop this possession of his body from killing people. I went quite into detail in regards to how the people looked that had been killed, and there was a slight romance story between him and this girl, which I suppose was wasn't really based off Reagan and Father Karras in any way. I think it was Father Karras. It wasn't based off of any kind of romantic relationship between any of the characters in the Exorcist film. I wasn't plagiarising anybody. As far as I know, it was as unique a story as it could be. But obviously I'm influenced by other things, so that was my passion. It then started learning how to crochet, which unfortunately I haven't been going to any of the groups or any of the places that I would normally go to learn how to do other kinds of crochet, how to progress from what I know how to make. And it took me about 2 years to learn how to make the granny squares, the different size granny squares I've been making. I know I haven't really posted up in my videos any of the work that I've been doing. I've posted up some of my cross stitch stuff. That's one of the other things that I did. I am a creative person, but I think the things like the crochet and the cross stitching and the other things that I've been learning how to do aren't as much of a passion for me, and something that I want to go into as the writing was. Unfortunately, circumstances mean that I don't necessarily have the passion anymore to actually write a book or have the ideas to write a book now. I even run out of ideas at times for doing YouTube videos, hence all the photo montages and the drawings that I've been doing on paint, and trying to have ideas and keep things fresh on YouTube isn't as easy as people think it is. But it was something that did kind of keep me alive and keep me sane for a long time. My stories weren't necessarily light and happy clappy and all that. They came from a place of I have the issues that I have in my life, like developing depression and developing anxiety and having had things happen to me in my life that's happened. So when I wrote something, they're not happy clappy stories. They might have some romance in there and some happy stuff, but a lot of it will be based on the darker side of what's going on in my mind, the darker side of what's gone on in my life. So that I just wanted to talk about my passion and to ask you what yours is and what it is that keeps you alive, and what it is that burns in your heart, what you've always wanted to do in your life that you didn't necessarily feel that you could do. And you don't have to do like I've done. You don't have to feel that you have to give up on whatever it is you wanted to do because you haven't found any avenues to pursue it. I mean, there's things that I've done that are progressing a certain way, like having studied my GCSE English and studied the peer mentoring, but obviously thus far neither of those two things have gone anywhere. I got to the end of my GCSE English and without any idea at the moment if I've passed or not. I know I passed my level 2 peer mentoring and I've got certificates for other things, like I've got my food hygiene in catering, so I could expand, could have been pursuing certain things, but other aspects of my life I've focused more on and kind of pushed those things that I wanted to do with other people to the back burner because I was prioritising certain things that were more important to me, like my family, spending time with my family, finding out what's happening with my children. I've got 2 boys, so that's a priority to me. Finding out what's happening with my eldest and my youngest sons, and spending time with my mum and my brother have all become much more of a priority and a passion for me, and something that I care more about than all the other stuff. I'm afraid everybody else and everything else is secondary to family now because I haven't got to spend as much time with them as I'd like. Maybe one day I'll get back to my passion for writing and my passion for other things, but that's pretty much what I wanted to put at the beginning of this vlog. and I'll catch you later when I'm out. Bye!